So hello everyone. So what I'm going to do now is the climate, and we'll also look at the RLC. We'll have to watch a YouTube video for it, okay? And that will be question number 3, okay? So if we look at South Asia, again I'll zoom into it so you guys can see it there. There is a little bit of diversity, but nothing compared to, say, China and the United States in terms of their climate variations. Now, India has what's called a monsoon climate, okay? They have a wet and dry season, okay? It's actually named there for India subcontinent as a whole. Now, there are exceptions. In Sri Lanka, which is the little island right here, it is a humid tropical climate, so comparable to the Amazon of Brazil, the climate of the Congo, and also Indonesia, the 4th largest country in the world. And then Pakistan has a semi-arid climate, okay, mainly due to its influence from Central Asia and also North Africa, Middle East with Iran. So what is the monsoon climate? Okay, you've probably heard this before with regards to India. It refers to the winds, okay? So, India's climate's warm year round, but the winds blow a different direction depending on the season. So, when it's summer, again, they have the same summer season as we do, the winds blow off the water, and of course this is, wet and humid, so as it blows off the water, it, of course, causes instability in the atmosphere and causes precipitation. Also an example of convectional precipitation. Remember, we talked about that in North America. And then the winter, the winds blow from the land, specifically from Central Asia down, so that prevents any humidity, and it's very dry in India. Okay, so again, that's the difference there with the winds. So the winds is what determines when it rains and when it does not there within India. And I think this picture really here, the old saying, a picture is 1,000 words. Right here you can clearly see that this is during a dry season. So during the winter months and also the fall months in India, again, very dry. And then again during the summer months when you get a lot of rain, this is what it looks like there within India. The monsoon is very important. Okay, if you don't have the monsoon rains, there will be no farming, and famine can occur, and also reservoirs are not able to, be filled. Now, I've been asked this before, when was the last time that it failed miserably? Well, it was in the 90s when you had a strong El Nino year. It was very dry there during the summer. Famine did sure there in India. I remember when they were saying, here are some campaigns to help the people of India. And you have to remember, back then they weren't as developed as they are now. So there was a lot of suffering there throughout the country. But don't think the monsoons are good 100%. This is when you have a lot of flooding occurring there within India. With flooding, you can have the spread of diseases. Okay, so diseases do spread during this time, because anytime you have flooding in any area, including here in the United States, you do have spread of diseases throughout. Okay, so again, the monsoons are good in terms of for agriculture and also reservoirs, but also can be a problem. So I'm going to go over a couple of physical geographic terms, okay? India was created by a convergent plate. The Indian subcontinent is its own plate. You can see here within it, okay? But there are 3 different plates here, okay? Divergent plate means they pull apart. So again, let's say this is a plate here, and it pulls apart like that. Convergent plate means it goes up and forces the landform up. Again, it's kind of hard to do that with my finger there, okay? And then transform means it goes side to side. So side to side like right here. So those are the 3 basic plates. I will say the San Andreas Fault in California is an example of a transform plate. The convergent plate, again, the Indian subcontinent going to the Eurasian plate, it forces the land up. That's how we got the Himalayan mountains. And divergent plate means it pulls apart. The Rift Valleys in sub-Saharan Africa are examples of older divergent plates, because remember they pulled apart and then they fill with water. So it's the same thing there. Now for question number 3, I would suggest reading those pages there is regards to the RLC. watch the video, okay? You do need to watch the video to help you answer the question. Unlike we talked about all semester with, climate change, also regards to the rainforest, regards to the desertification, there can be both a human and a natural impact, okay, that's caused it, okay? We talked about that all semester. However, with the RLC, this is probably one of the huge exceptions. You could definitely say that it was mainly humans that caused this, okay? It was caused by the Soviet Union. What happened is during the 1950s, they started to drain the RLC, okay, in order to have water for agriculture, particularly cotton, but you have to remember this is a desert, not an ideal climate for cotton. So that's why they had to drain so much water out in order to irrigate the crops. Now this is what the RLC looks like. It's even smaller now. I think this picture above here really shows it. If you look there, there's barely anything left. Parts of it are still there, as you'll see in the video, but again, most of it is gone. And I think this, right here shows the timeline. As I said, starting in the 50s right here, and it's became smaller and smaller. And this is 2007. It really hasn't changed, though, since then. Okay, so parts of it are still there, but again, a lot of it is gone. So what I want you to do is I want you to, think about this. What have been the environmental impacts of the sea disappearance? Okay, so look at this right here. You don't have to do the second part, okay? You don't have to do this one, okay? You don't have to do this one at all. So I'll just put it highlight. You do not have to do that. Just do this part. This is related here to question 3. Really think about, how the environmental impacts from the sea disappearing lead to economic, biological, and human settlements in this region, okay? So you really have to think about those aspects here, okay? So let me actually undo this. I meant to do the other one, so let me delete this first one. I do apologize for that. Again, first time making major videos here for my classes. So again, you need to answer this. How would the environmental impacts lead to economic and human settlement pattern changes, okay? You have to really take it into account. I mean, yes, there are impacts by the ecosystems. We talked about that with the rainforest disappearance. Yes, there are impacts too with the water suppliers, no denying that. But I really want you to look at how this impacts the settlements around the RLC, how it impacts farming, how it impacts, domestic animals. We're not talking wild animals, we're talking domesticated animals, and also the economy, okay? How did it impact the economy, okay? Because there's definitely a lot of impacts there. So just give me 3 factors, okay? So go ahead and pause the video now, and then we'll go into language and religion of the realm. Okay, so welcome back. Okay, you pretty much have 3 questions answered for the assignment, and of course you have some questions answered for the study guide. Now, if you look at India as a whole, okay, you see that in southern India, particularly here, the Dravidian family is present. Different language than the rest of India. This is also related to the Indo-European. I know it says Indo-Aryan, okay. That's also another term used by some human geographers. However, okay, Indo-European is much better, okay? Don't particularly like the wording right here they have with Indo-Aryan right there, okay? Indo-European is much better. Also, there are 2 official languages of India. It is Hindi and English. Hindi and English. Hindi is the language used throughout most of India. It's what Prime Minister Modi uses, okay? You can hear him talk to Parliament. And also the other language is English. Now, English actually came about, okay, because of the British colonization, okay? So with British colonization, okay, that's of course allowed for, English to be heard there throughout all of India, okay? Now the question is, why is English considered to be a uniting force within India? Well, there's at least 300 different languages spoken throughout India, many dialects too. So in order to unite a country of 1 billion people, it's actually easier to use English, and that's why English is widely heard throughout most of India. Okay, so if you go to major cities like New Delhi, Calcutta, and Bombay, you will hear English spoken, and of course, English is used in those road signs. But again, it really depends on what part of India you are in. Now, India, the dominant religion is Hinduism, but also there is a sizable Muslim population. Let me show you here. If you look here in northern India in particular, you see that. That is a legacy of the Silk Road. Remember we talked about the Silk Road there, China and the Arab traders, okay? They actually went through this area, so they're bringing their religion there, okay? Pakistan and Bangladesh are predominantly Muslim. They actually broke apart from India during the partition 1947 because of that. And what's interesting is that Buddhism, a lot of people think the cultural hearth is in in China, but it's actually in India. Okay, got a little reverse there. In India, that is where the cultural hearth of Buddhism is. Okay, it's not in China. I understand why most people think it would be China. Okay, so when you teach this around the world, okay, most people automatically think China. No, it's actually India is the cultural hearth. Okay, however, then one of the later emperors, particularly during the Gupta era, they actually they found Hinduism, and that became the dominant religion there, okay? It's only in Sri Lanka that you see, Buddhism still being dominant there, okay? And again, India and Nepal, the dominant religion is Hinduism, okay? Reincarnation is a big part of the Hindu faith, okay? And they also believe in the caste system, which has caused problems in the past, and I'll explain that here in just a minute, okay? So I'm going to jump to the caste system here. I would say it's very comparable to the feudal system of Europe that happened during the medieval era, okay? It's very strict. You cannot move out of a caste. You are stuck in that caste forever. And the belief is, because of reincarnation, that if you were bad in a previous life, then you're getting punished for it and being in that lower caste. Now, one thing I want to emphasize, okay? In urban areas like New Delhi, Calcutta, and Bombay, it's not as enforced, okay? So it's not as enforced. In rural areas, it is. Now, you're probably thinking, well, okay, India is developing economically, okay? There'll be more urban areas. The problem is, even with its economic development now, with the Make in India campaign, India is still a rural country, okay? It is still a rural country. 70% of the people live in small towns and rural areas, okay? So that's the problem, okay? Yes, in New Delhi, Calcutta, and Bombay, and even Goa, not as enforced. However, most people still live there. And that is why there's still discrimination. Also, I'm not saying all, but people who are lighter-skinned Indians tend to be in the higher caste, and darker-skinned Indians tend to be in the lower caste, so there's discrimination too based upon skin tone. However, it's not always the case though. Okay, so I want to emphasize that. So, what was a way somebody could leave the caste system? Well, at first, it was creating religions, okay? These three religions right here protested against the caste system. Okay, they said it was rigid. They said it didn't allow any flexibility. Didn't allow people to marry outside their caste. So these three religions came about to protest, okay, the caste system. Okay. Again, there are two ways to do it. You could either join, or you could either create your own religion. Again, these three right here, okay, Jainism, Liggayats, and Sikhism came about protesting the caste system. Or you could convert to another religion, okay? That's how Islam spread, and that's how Christianity spread. You have to think of it from this perspective, okay? That again, okay, if you were a poor Indian living in these lower castes right here, let's say the Sudra or Untouchables, and remember, Islam and Christianity don't discriminate based upon ethnicity or class. That's why they spread. So if you were a poor Indian, you would think, wait a minute, Islam or Christianity, they don't discriminate. I should join these religions. That's how they grew. Okay, you have to look at it from that perspective there. Okay, so Sikhism is a big religion now. It's found there in India. I won't go over the other two. That'd be more for human geography. But Guru Nanak, okay, is the one that found Sikhism, okay? Sikhism tried to reconcile Hinduism and Islam. However, it did not occur, okay? Sikhism is a monotheistic religion, okay? They believe that, they believe in Shiva, okay, and or God, okay? So they pretty much believe that that's God, okay? God, the same God that people who are Jewish, Christian, or Muslim believe in. And Sikhism, the cultural heart, is in Punjab. So it's up here there in northern India, okay? So I'm going to stop it right here, and then you can look at the next video for population.